century. Doing something mean to it. Do it better than anybody you ever seen. Do it scream for names. Got a nice ring to it. I guess every superhero in his theme music. No one man to have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours. Stop tripping, I'm tripping off the power.
It's now, it's time to bring the hustle. Welcome to today's match featuring St. Louis City 2 and your Houston Dynamo Dos. Fans, we now ask you to please rise, if you're able, and remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem.
Welcome to Houston, Texas for this MLS Next Pro matchup in the Western Conference. Houston Dynamo Dos back home after being on the road for the last three matches, taking on St. Louis City 2, the reigning regular season Western Conference champions. Hello, family. I'm James Haddon. Thank you so much for joining me here on OneFootball.com and MLSNextPro.com. Houston started the season off spectacularly, 11 straight unbeaten, but then they fell on hard times, losing 3 straight. They now are trying to make it back-to-back wins after their win last time out versus Minnesota. Have to take a look at the 11 for Jeremy Hurdle, a 4-2-3-1. 2 changes in the center back position. Noah Betancourt and Vinicius Silva will be playing center back today as Gavin Wolf and Isaac Makwatuya are unavailable now that they are off to college. And so the player to watch for in this 11 is Austin Brumett. He leads the team in goals with 8 on the year. And Brumett is a player that sets the tone not only in the attack but also defensively. So definitely excited to see him along with this entire Houston Dynamo Dos squad back at home here this afternoon. Now let's take a look at the 11 for St. Louis City 2 under Coach David Critchley. He sends out a 3-4-3. They have lost their last 3. They've never lost 4 straight in their history, and that's why this is a big match for City 2. Riley Lynch is the player to look out for. He comes in with 6 assists on the year, one of the top scorers on this team as well. And so with his ability in regards to goal contributions, you have to make sure that you watch him on the wing if you're Houston. These two teams definitely have been at the top of the Western Conference for long stretches in the history of this league. And this is really the first time in a long time that St. Louis has not been the pace setter in the Western Conference. You go back to last year, the long unbeaten streak that was a league record. You think about the year prior in 2024 when they were going back and forth with North Texas SC for who was going to be the top team in the Western Conference. It ended up being North Texas SC beating them in the Western Conference final and then winning MLS Next Pro Cup. So for St. Louis, this is uncharted territory, losing their last 3 matches. Now they played the top teams in the West in Austin and North Texas, as well as a loss to Minnesota. And so they're not teams that you can really say anything negative about, but this is a match for St. Louis that they do not want to fall for the 4th straight time. It would be the first time in the history of their organization. St. Louis is in the white, and in the purple and orange are the Dynamo. There's the opening whistle, and we begin. Patrick McDonald with a couple of juggles before sending this ball forward. And now we are underway from SaberCat Stadium in Houston, Texas. St. Louis City 2 and Houston Dynamo Dos. James Hadnot here with you. Thank you so much for joining me this hot afternoon. Houston played their last match at home. It was at Shell Energy Stadium. This is their first match back at SaberCat Stadium. As immediately a foul was committed down that left side. And a yellow card is shown. So inside of a minute, a booking for St. Louis, or check that, for Houston. So it's Betancourt who picks up the yellow card, and St. Louis City 2 immediately has a free kick opportunity. St. Louis trying to make some early noise on the road versus Houston. 2nd minute of action. Free kick comes in, and it's wide of everyone and will spray out for a goal kick. We talk about Dynamo Dos and that long unbeaten streak to start the year. I talked with Jeremy Hurdle, the head coach, and he mentioned that that was not something that the team was really privy to or even worried about, although they almost broke a league record. Colorado Rapids 2 had the record back in 2023, and Houston matched that. But Ventura County got the best of Houston last month in the first match of the month of June, and then Houston dropped the next 2 matches in the month of June to Tacoma as well as to LAFC. So they exercised some demons last time out at Shell Energy Stadium, getting the win versus Minnesota 4-0. Conversely, for St. Louis, they are trying to get out of their own way, as, speaking of which, almost a big-time mistake. It does not bite City 2, but that was almost disastrous for the away side. Houston is known for the defense that they put on. Dolman with this ball over the top, and now the Dynamo on the attack. This shot is wide of the mark. It did take a touch on the way through, and it will be a corner. But let's take a look at this again. Just a ball in no man's land, and then in the end, the foul that was not called. It was Chris Pearson who brought down the attacking player, J.J. Bell. So there was no foul called there. Bell felt there should have been. Pearson had both arms out in the end. And now it is Jamon Barkley who is down and in need of medical attention. So a lot happening inside of 5 minutes between St. Louis and Houston. It was St. Louis who got the first goal in the last meeting, but then Dynamo really took it to CITY2. It was a rare blunder at home for St. Louis City. They don't often lose, and they definitely don't often lose at home. This has been a different type of season for St. Louis. Just the 28 goals coming into today, 28 goals allowed, a 0 goal differential, and that's, again, unlike St. Louis City over the past couple of seasons. Barkley getting medical attention now. These are light sprinkles coming down here in Houston. So Barkley is back up, and he's walking off under his own power. Looks like he should be able to continue. And so St. Louis is going to have to defend this corner, down a man. Barkley completely off the field now. Corner's whipped in, headed along by Brumette, but it's just over the crossbar. Mention Austin Brumette. He is the target man, leads the team in goals. Rose up rather, just could not keep it down. Now St. Louis racing the other way. This could be promising. Riley Lynch worked back. Now Patrick McDonald. Now Colin Welsh, the goalkeeper for St. Louis, has to come to the rescue as Houston continues to put pressure on. Welsh lets this run accidentally, and Dynamo were never going to make it easy. Coach Critchley knew that. Jamon Barkley getting ready to come back on the field. Nice little back heel there. Felicia Silva, Noah Betancourt, center back pairing. Betancourt's ball over the top. It is almost brought down. Alan Martins couldn't keep control. This ball rolls out. Another throw-in coming for St. Louis. Another direct ball that was handled by Betancourt, but you can see the game plan for St. Louis. They're trying to play over the top. Do not want to try to play through Houston on multiple occasions. I talked with Coach Critchley. He really wants to have an overload in midfield. Really wants to utilize some of his attacking midfielders to create opportunities on the outside. Once again, Barkley is down. This is the second time he's gone down, and with that being the case, the expectation that a sub might be prepared soon. Difficult for Barkley coming into today. 3 goals and 2 assists for him. They never want to have to go to the bench this early in a match, but Barkley again has gone down twice in less than 10 minutes. As he continues to receive medical attention. Well, to set the tone for this match, St. Louis and Houston have played a total of 10 times. And it is dead even. 4 wins, 4 losses, and then 2 draws. So neither side has found themselves ahead all time in these meetings. For Houston, we mentioned that they've already beaten St. Louis this season. Last meeting here at SaberCat Stadium was a draw 2-2. And Houston won the extra point on penalties 4-3. Barkley is able to walk off under his own power, but will not be able to continue. So the substitution. Zachary Zengate comes on. Zengate immediately the target. Now going back is Chris Pearson towards his goalkeeper Colin Welsh. Clears it high into the air. Good defense here by Houston. Brumette gonna fire! And it's just wide. So another warning shot from the Dynamo as they continue to be very pesky defensively. The substitute for St. Louis, Zach Zengate, who played most of the season with Columbus, but he's going to be on loan with St. Louis for the remainder of the season. St. Louis has the option to make it a permanent transfer, so Zengate, one of the top goal scorers in the league. Now this ball smashed home. Houston takes the lead. Reese Miller with a fantastic strike. Third goal of the season for Miller, and the pressure produces a goal for Houston. Again, just continuing to be difficult to attack. And for the Dynamo, early on, they have found this first goal. And St. Louis is behind the 8 ball once again. St. Louis has not scored in their last 2 matches. They have gone goalless in 3 straight matches just once in their entire history. So things are not as they have been for City 2. Now Zengay dumps this forward. Riley Lynch tracks it down. Lynch played prior with San Jose, and he cannot keep it in play as it runs into touch. But that was one thing that Coach Critchley knew was going to be an issue for St. Louis. He talked very much about how the middle third is the key for the Dynamo. If they can win the middle third, then they are very difficult to beat. The way that they press, the way that they defend inside the middle third, that's how they can create opportunities to go forward quickly. And that's what we saw. Winning the ball in midfield, early ball played forward, and then Reese Miller picking up the change just inside the 18. Now another turnover, almost another mistake in the midfield. So Stone Marion into Zengay. Now McDonald. Good ball centrally. Foul's going to be on St. Louis and Riley Lynch. Not expecting that. So now St. Louis, after conceding this goal, has a negative goal differential for the first time in a long time. This ball is dumped over the top. Miller's the target, but it will roll to Colin Welsh. Seventeenth minute of action. Houston has taken the lead thanks to Reese Miller. St. Louis trying to answer. Ball's in the area on the doorstep. What a save! Logan Erb. How does Erb keep that out? Well, Logan Erb's counterpart, Pedro Cruz, is going to be in goalie wars at MLS All-Star. But Erb trying to let him know that he has a little gusto of his own. But what a moment there. St. Louis looked sure to score, and Logan Erb had other ideas. Now off this turnover, J.J. Bell and Miller almost collide. And Zengay will go back to the goalkeeper, Colin Welsh. Long ball launched forward. This will roll all the way to Erb. Gives us a chance to see this again. Just a beautiful ball there, and Erb diving to his left. Nwankwo has to finish there. Chidobe Nwankwo, a young player, he's going to learn. But those are the ones you have to have, especially already down a goal. Riley Lynch is offside. So Welsh will let this roll into his box as Reese Miller was the target. Nearing the 20th minute, and we've seen a good amount of action already. Houston found the goal. Reese Miller scoring his 3rd of the season. Chidobe Nwankwo right at the doorstep, could not barge in and find the equalizer. Silva battling with Zengay, and Zach Zengay is the guilty party. Aggressive play between Zengay and Silva, and that's what you like. Zengay is a great goal scorer and also one of the top goal contributors in the league. So St. Louis is happy to have him, especially with who's moved up in this organization. I talked with Coach Critchley about, wouldn't call it necessarily turnover, but the ascension, really, of a couple of players. Palmer Alt is one of them. And with this being a mini preseason for the first team as the World Cup is winding down, and I say that lightly because it's coming to a close, but it's not winding down in regards to the action. But as MLS teams get ready to restart their season, players like Palmer Alt, Makai Joyner, spending a lot of time with the first team. And so other players have to step up and also trying to find top talent. Zach Zengay is definitely somebody that fits that description. St. Louis now has to defend a corner. Houston in front by a goal. Ball is whipped in, headed away. Bell controls it. And now Bell turns it over. Nwankwo takes a touch, trying to win the race. And Betancourt trying to shield him off. So Logan Erb goes to ground and clears it away. So now Zengay. Pearson. Lillington. Now Paris. Paris pumps it over the top. Logan Erb is out for it, as Riley Lynch was the target. Zengay was there. His last touch by Zach Zengay, but even though he's come on via a substitute for an injury, he's brought a spark to St. Louis for sure. Matt turns this over. Riley Lynch looks over his shoulder. Nobody to play forward, so he'll work back, and St. Louis will reset. St. Louis, losers of their last 3 matches. Fell to Minnesota 5-2. Austin and North Texas did not score versus North Texas or Austin in their latest 2 matches. And they are working on one of their longest scoring droughts in team history. Who is going to make the difference for St. Louis? Or can Houston continue to tighten the screws and put more pressure on St. Louis, not only to find a goal, but to snap this losing streak? Silva launches this the other way. It'll bounce out for a throw. When you think about Houston and what they've meant to this Western Conference, they've been one of the winningest teams since coming into MLS Next Pro, since its inception back in 2022. And this season has definitely helped those numbers. They're top 4 all time in the Western Conference in wins in the regular season. Still looking for that first playoff win, though. That's what this season could be. Doman, a little tap forward towards Bell. Could not let it run. This is well done by Trip Clancy as he slides this forward. Riley Lynch latches onto it. Lynch, step over, sets it up. Now controlled by McDonald. He shoots. Second effort, takes a deflection. Nwankwo, has another one. And Logan Erb is there. Chidobe Nwankwo once again going to be wondering how he doesn't score as he is inside the 6-yard box. He's 3 yards away from goal. But he puts it right on the paws of Logan Erb. Is the goal coming for St. Louis? It feels like it. They've had 2 point-blank chances, but then when you look at the other side of the coin, are those the chances that they have to put away? And will they come back to bite them, especially on the road? Stone Marion cannot work his way around Reese Miller. Miller puts the ball centrally, and now a chance to break for Houston. Martins. Can't find a teammate inside the area. Ball won back by Houston. Then Doman turns it over towards McDonald. A collision and a foul on Houston. After coming out the back door, Chris Pearson brings the ball across midfield. Finds Stone Marion. Ball returns to Pearson. And now Trip Clancy. Works back to Sidney Paris. Patrick McDonald. 2 goals on the year for him. Now this ball is lifted in and snagged by Logan Erb. So Logan Erb has been on the wrong end of some results after Pedro Cruz joined the first team for the preseason and the tune-ups getting ready for the MLS season to restart. And he's playing one of his best matches right now. Did have the clean sheet versus Minnesota last time out, but has made 2 big saves in this first half. He's keeping a clean sheet through 28 minutes. Zenge is tripped up, and that's a foul by Vinicius Silva. This ball is given away. Samir Muhammad cannot work around his defender, loses possession. '30th minute. Houston in front by a goal. Reese Miller, the man that put Dynamo ahead. St. Louis has had 2 excellent opportunities right in front of goal. Just have not been able to finish them. Ball's played long, almost controlled in the area. Zengay takes a touch. Vinicius Silva wanders and takes it back. Now, as this is tapped forward, Zengay trying to get there first, but it's Betancourt there for coverage. And it's last off of Zengay. Can St. Louis put some pressure on Houston now? Dynamo, despite their youth, have been very comfortable dealing with pressure. And you'd expect that with the way that they practice and with the way they play. Coach Jeremy Hurdle says he wants the training sessions to be more difficult than the matches. If that's the case, then they'll put themselves in good positions every single match day. Wants an intense training environment. And he believes that's what's helped them jump out to this really good start to the year. Falling on hard times, as mentioned, with the 3 straight losses in the month of June, but feel like they might be back in the saddle after their win versus Minnesota. Time will tell, but right now they are taking it to one of the all-time great teams in MLS Next Pro in St. Louis. Already beaten them once this year, looking to make it 2 for 2. Reese Miller is fouled on the touchline. Good pressure being put on here, but Noah Betancourt so smooth to play out of trouble. And although that ball is cleared back to Colin Welsh, you can see for Betancourt how calm he is despite the danger that was surrounding him. Houston pressure, forces a turnover. Bell can't keep it. Lynch takes the touch around, and that'll be a foul on the Alessandro Herrera. Here it is as Lynch takes that little touch around. Herrera with the shove. Lynch goes down, and that is a foul. Martins wins possession. Alan Martins trying to maneuver through numerous defenders. Possession finds its way back to St. Louis. They've conjured up 2 really good chances in this half. Can they create another? Houston hangs its hat on defense. Stone Marion in possession. Chris Pearson. Trip Clancy. 63 in white. He is setting the pace for St. Louis. Has to be careful here as he loses possession. Brumette quickly dispossessed, but now Houston back on the ball with Martins. Samir Muhammad steps out of danger. Silva. Miller makes the run. He's in the area. Tries to pull it back. And just a great run made by Reese Miller. He and Vinicius Silva on the same page and earns his team a corner. So Houston bringing numbers into the box for this corner. They have big targets in Vinicius Silva, Noah Bedencourt, the two center backs. Also Alan Martins. Shimani Bell wants to provide a good ball. Ball is long, brought down by Brumette. Flips it in, headed along, and just wide. Opportunity was there for Houston. Mentioned the likes of Bedencourt. He was the last to head it. Just could not steer it on frame. Both sides have had chances in this first half. Houston took advantage of one of them. Silva playing with his food a bit. Zachary Zengay was always going to be pesky, as mentioned. As you can tell, Vinicius Silva's confidence on the ball. Will that come back to bite him? With Zengay patrolling in front of him. Zengay turns it over to Miller. And Houston is back on the ball. Houston has dominated the midfield. That is where they butter their bread. Nwankwo picks this up. Chidobe Nwankwo finds Zachary Zengay. Now Lillington. McDonald comes a little higher to pick this up. Sidney Paris. Nothing there though, as Houston stays firm. Marion. St. Louis starting to saunter forward. Ball's played direct. Sidney Paris is upended, and that'll be a free kick. So Alan Martins was trying to defend, but was too aggressive. And now St. Louis has a free kick. Moving towards the 40th minute of action. We had the 2 stoppages for the injury to Jamon Barkley, and so expect a little bit of added time. St. Louis does not want to go into the locker room down. Outswinging ball. Reese Miller heads it back into play. McDonald going to strike. It takes a deflection. And then Marion just lets this run out as he shepherds it out, really, to earn his team a corner. McDonald with a nice strike there. It took a deflection. Marion knew that, so he let it run. St. Louis thought about playing it short. Now this ball is zipped in, headed away by Silva. And now just dumped in there for anybody. Brumette will clear it away. Alan Martins kept it in play and forced the ball to be played out. So Lillington just cleared it, and Houston will have a throw. A whistle and the throw must come again. Samir Muhammad shields off his defender. Possession 1, but then given away by Muhammad. So J.J. Bell tracking back. Stone Marion carrying it a long way. And Vinicius Silva handles business there on the touchline. Throw in for St. Louis. Ball comes into Pearson. St. Louis would like to work this left side. That's where Riley Lynch is. That's where both dangerous balls have come in from. Good defending by Martins. He'll join the attack. This is Doman trying to slip it behind. And you see how aggressive Houston is with those left and right backs, just coming in, crashing in, trying to disrupt things in the midfield. When that happens, that benefits them because they can play forward, they can disrupt things around the midfield line, and they really never let their opponent get into their attacking half. But if St. Louis can exploit that aggression and pull somebody down, then that will give them a chance to play behind and play into the pockets. J.J. Bell gets a touch to this, but Chris Pearson does enough to regain possession. Now a slip. Welsh calmly plays it forward. Can this benefit St. Louis, as there will be a foul, and that'll be a yellow card for sure. Alan Martins will pick it up. Sidney Paris almost slipped away. Right here, things look tumultuous as Trip Clancy went to ground, but he wasn't worried. Colin Welsh wasn't frazzled, and Sidney Paris ended up being the beneficiary as he was barreling forward.
A yellow card caution has been issued by the referee to number 16 from the Dynamo 2 in the minute 42.
So Zengay works back to Pearson as we near the 45th minute. Clancy Almost threads the needle, but Vinicius Silva was weary of the danger. Now Samir Muhammad tracking back, finds Martins. Muhammad continues his run, will receive it from Martins, plays it back. Beautiful play here as Martin's shot is off of a defender. There's excellent teamwork there from Houston. Martins just could not find a sliver of space to shoot, or to put it on frame rather, as he was blocked away. And it will be a corner kick. Muhammad's ball, a looping one. Betancourt first to it, controlled by Houston. Now flip back in, easily taken down, but oh! A spectacular save by Colin Welsh. It was Doman who made it more difficult than it needed to be. His control was clean, but his shot was blocked. And you thought Doman might have just went with the header, as that was in the air forever. He was by himself, Colin Welsh, standing tall. Pinpoint that if St. Louis is to find a goal anywhere in this match. Gustavo Doman, who has one goal on the year, thought surely he would have his second after he took it down so cleanly. Just watch this ball as it's whipped in, controlled, and then Welsh just made himself big. And Doman there just couldn't make contact, or check that was Brumette who couldn't make contact. Reese Miller, good ball through, but Brumette could not get a piece of it. Any redirection, and that's in the back of the net, and it's 2-0. Now, Nwankwo. Look at this speed. Betancourt just gets a piece of it as we're into added time. The fourth official announcing a minimum of 4 minutes. Now played 2 of our minimum of 4. Muhammad trying to hold things up. Reyes was there to go to ground. Both sides, you think, would be happy with how this half has gone. And in regards to chances that have been created, Coach Critchley would love to have a goal for St. Louis with the opportunities that his team has had, but will be very pleased with the stop made by Colin Welsh. On the other side for Coach Hurdle, he too will be happy that his team has found the goal, but will believe that they should have had more. Now Zingay. Silva is there to undercut that. Final minute of our minimum of 4 minutes of added time in this first half. Houston in front by a goal, scored by Reese Miller. Chavez sends us into the air. Zingay could not take a second touch as Betancourt came over for coverage. And St. Louis has a corner here late in the first half. Chavez sends this ball in, headed away on the hop, brought down. Nice movement here for St. Louis, pulled back, and the shot is wide by Zach Lillington. That's how the half comes to a close. It is Houston 1, St. Louis 0. The goal scored by Reese Miller. Coming up in our halftime show highlights and our weekend schedule, but after the break, a Pride Month story on the importance of soccer in the community when we come back.
They say the world's game is played everywhere. This is how we play it here. Every weekend across North America. From Vancouver's mountain rain to the shores of Florida. From the City of Angels to the Heartland. The world's brightest stars light up our fields.
Let's go.
And our fans bring the world to life. In every language, in every city. One game, one roar. Sold out nights under lights. New soccer citadels rising from coast to coast. Every chant, every goal, another brick in a growing relief. Now, the world's biggest stage comes to our home. And when they arrive, they'll find the game's heartbeat has been here all along.
Welcome back to Houston, Texas. Dynamo 1, St. Louis 0. June was Pride Month, and we take you to Cincinnati and superfan Mark Brockman on how he and his soccer community found each other.
Is at 7 p.m. For additional information and to purchase your tickets, head over to houston-.com. Dash 2026 season tickets are still available. Don't miss out on exclusive.
Once again, we're back here in Houston. June was Pride Month, and we take you to Cincinnati and superfan Mark Brockman on how he and his soccer community found each other.
I'm Mark Brockman. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm an FC Cincinnati 2 supporter. I spend a lot of time paying attention to FC Cincinnati. The 2 team is ultimately just another outlet to get away and think about soccer for 90 minutes instead of whatever else is going on. I really enjoy the opportunity to come to the games, and the 2 team is so interesting because you can see young players and know, well, Andre Trilla debuted for this team last year at 16. Well, now he's starting for the first team, and he's one of the best ball progressors in the league. And you could have seen that last year at Scudamore. And I think that's a really cool experience, and I think there's something to be said for FCC fans who have never been to a 2 game. They don't know the highs and lows of MLS Next Pro, and there's nothing really like it to be around families and people, and you can hear everything on the field. And sometimes somebody's just going to rip a long shot, and it's going to go in, and the crowd's going to go wild, and you'll never see a replay. And you're just you were there. You know, struggling with mental health and depression, it's really like a numbness and an apathy that gets to you. And for me, at least, it's what kind of ate away. I just didn't feel anything about anything. And FCC really provided me an outlet to feel again. And it was highs and lows and excitement and anger. And one of the first games I went to, we had a player allegedly bite somebody, and GB did not bite anybody. But, you know, it's controversy and it's emotion, and it's getting back to feeling things, not just being numb to the world. I think Pride Month is about community, and it's really important for me growing up. I didn't necessarily always see representation out in front of me. So growing up, I didn't know. I knew I was different, but I didn't know if it was okay. And I think Pride Month gives you a really good opportunity to get out there and be loud and proud. And it gives the younger generation an opportunity to see people living their lives as gay people or queer people. I think if there was something I was going to tell a kid or myself when I was in the closet younger, it's probably the most important thing in your life is going to be loving yourself. And if you love you, you're going to find people who will love you too. I mean, people told me it gets better and be yourself as a kid, and it always kind of sounds dumb and banal and cliche, but there really is something to be your authentic self, and you're gonna do what you're passionate about and engage in your hobbies and things you're passionate about, and you will find a community that you enjoy and that loves you for who you are. Ultimately, being yourself is going to be more rewarding than being anybody else wants you to be. And just don't be afraid, because ultimately none of it matters.
I want to welcome you back to Houston Dynamo Dose taking on St. Louis. Houston in front by a goal. And now it's time to look at the upcoming schedule. So here is the Sunday schedule between some of the fun matchups in MLS Next Pro. You see Philadelphia, they'll take on Huntsville at 3 p.m. And then a little bit later in the day, Austin will put their winning streak on the line as they take on Minnesota. San Jose and Tacoma, that'll be a fun one as well. So we will take one more break and be back for the second half between St. Louis and Houston.
They say the world's game is played everywhere. This is how we play it here. Every weekend across North America. From Vancouver's mountain rain to the shores of Florida. From the city of angels to the heartland. The world's brightest stars light up our fields.
Let's go.
And our fans bring the world to life. In every language, in every city. One game, one roar. Sold out nights under lights. New soccer citadels rising from coast to coast. Every chant, every goal, another brick in a growing relief. Now, the world's biggest stage comes to our home. And when they arrive, they'll find the game's heartbeat has been here all along.
Welcome back to SaberCat Stadium in Houston, Texas. Houston Dynamo dose in front by a goal 1-0 on top of St. Louis. Now it's time for our halftime highlights as Houston has found itself in front thanks to a goal. Miller. All the fun in the first half. Right out of the chute, here is the goal. Miller, great strike, top corner, beautifully taken. And that gave Houston a lead. Then a little bit later, Riley Lynch with a perfect ball to Chidobe Nwankwo, but Logan Erb with a wonderful save. Then here, as this ball is going to pop right to Nwankwo again, Logan Erb is in the right place at the right time. Didn't know very much about it, but just made himself big. And then Colin Welsh matched that save. That's just excellent control from Doman off the chest. But Welsh just huge with that save just to keep his team in it. And so right now it's Houston 1, St. Louis 0. Think about these two teams overall. Houston, as mentioned, started the season off to an amazing start. Jeremy Hurdle, who is the interim, I asked him at the beginning of the year, how is this different than when he was the interim a couple of years ago when Coach Bundy took over for the first team. And he mentioned that a couple of years ago, the team was kind of already established, and so he was really just making sure that the team found their way into the playoffs, although they fell in the playoffs in the first round. But he wanted to just make sure that they finished the season strong, got into the playoffs, and then anything can happen from there. But this year, with the preseason, with it being known that he was going to be the second team coach from the beginning of the year, really able to establish what he wanted to see from the team from the beginning, wanted to establish the training environment, wanted to establish how intense he wanted things to be. And this team played with that intensity from the beginning of the year. That's why they got off to such a good start. Then as things happen, players go on to college, as mentioned, Isaac Makotulia, Gavin Wolf. Players are loaned out, i.e. Diego Gonzalez, who is having a great time in the third tier with Portland, and he scored a goal, has a couple of assists, and that's something that Coach Hurdle was so happy about, to see Gonzalez was put really blood, sweat, and tears into this organization to find out what the next step might be for him. And then you have the likes of Pedro Cruz, who is the usual goalkeeper here for the second team. He's in with the first team for training for preseason, along with Matteo Di Morelli and Matthew Arana. And so those are key pieces that are not with the team right now. And so they had to reconfigure things, recalibrate. And after getting the win last time out versus Minnesota, they are trying to make it back-to-back wins versus Western Conference opponents. And for St. Louis, they are in uncharted waters right now, and not in a good way. They have only lost 3 straight matches once in their team's history. You have to go back to 2023. They've only gone scoreless in 3 straight matches once as well. And they've never lost 4 straight. And so right now they find themselves behind. If they want to continue that notion of not losing 4 straight, then they have to find a goal soon in this second half. And so definitely excited to see what St. Louis does to start the second half. Almost ready to get things going. Lorenzo Cornelius is going to come on at the half, and Stone Marion is going to come off. And so we'll get that to you right at the beginning of the half. Already a substitution was made in the first half as Zach Zengay came on for Jamon Barkley. Barkley played the first 10 minutes, but went down twice within that first 10 minutes, and so it was a necessary substitution, a necessary change for St. Louis to bring somebody else on. You see the board is up, and so Lorenzo Cornelius officially coming into this match for Stone Marion as we get ready to start the second half. St. Louis is going to be in the white, Houston in the purple and orange. Right now, Houston is 6 points behind Austin for the #1 spot in the Western Conference. St. Louis currently sits in 5th. They are an even 500 on the road. 3 wins, 3 losses, and 3 draws. Do not want to fall below 500 away from Energizer Park. A lot of things on the line right now for both St. Louis and Houston. There's the whistle, and the second half is underway as Houston dumps this ball out into touch to give themselves a chance to set up their defense. Pearson tries to fire this forward. It's sent out by J.J. Bell, and another throw-in coming for St. Louis. Goal was scored by Reese Miller for Houston. This ricochet tracked down by Paris. J.J. Bell trying to win it in front of Pearson. And then Reyes goes back to Miller. So Dillman wins possession, and Houston does exactly what it's trained to do right there. Seek and destroy. The Dynamo put that ball into a dangerous space defensively, force St. Louis to try to play out, then they win possession. Now this ball's looped into the air, headed along. Brumet takes the touch off the chest. He's ripped down. And that's going to be a yellow card shown to Lillington if the free kick is just on the edge of the area. Just a wonderful header as Brumet corrals it cleanly. Lillington, the professional foul. He has both hands out, but he knows what he's doing there. That was necessary, because without that foul, Brumet is in on goal because he's past Lillington. And if he's a step earlier, or a step later rather, then it's a penalty. So Zach Lillington goes into the book. Samir Muhammad standing around the free kick. This will be from about 18.5 yards out. It's always difficult to get this up and over the wall and back down. Ball is struck wide by Brumet. Again, always difficult. Brumet was trying to pick out that top corner. Not enough curl on the ball. to whip it around the wall.
A yellow card caution has been
Now
issued by
St.
the
Louis has a
referee
center
for
back
number 66
on a yellow.
for St. Louis
And with the
those
speed
in
of
the
Brumette,
47th
with the
minute.
pace of J.J. Bell, Zach Lillington will have to be careful as this match wears on. Houston trying to make it back-to-back wins at home. They won their last match at Shell Energy Stadium, and this will be their first match here in a long time. SaberCast Stadium was under renovation. Long ball. Herb is out for it. The header. Knotted down by McDonald. Into Chavez. Now Emiliano Chavez can't connect with Lorenzo Cornelius. A little nutmeg there. And now Vinicius Silva cannot work his way through a crowd. So Chavez grabbing on to Samir Muhammad, and that grab is going to be a foul. Reyes goes back to Logan Herb. 2 humongous saves in the first half. Chidobe Nwankwo right in front of him, and he made both saves right there. Nwankwo commits the foul. Betancourt. Reyes. Brumette is pushed down by Lillington. And every single time Zach Lillington makes a move here in the second half, we'll have to watch it. He's now on a yellow card and having to defend the top goal scorer for Houston. 8 goals on the year. League leader is Arif Kovac for Atlanta with 12. Numerous players sitting on 10. J.J. Bell stopped his run. And so Chris Pearson of St. Louis able to track it down. Silva's header finds Samir Muhammad. Brumette can't connect with Martins. Silva commits the foul. And now Vinicius Silva is down. So that was a hard collision between Zachary Zenge and Vinicius Silva. Those two have been at it all day since Zachary Zenge has come on. And 5 minutes into the second half, there has been good intensity from both sides. Dangerous proposition there, trying to play through this Houston defense. Welsh along to Pearson. Tries to play over the top, but Silva is there. Brumette was offside. It's been a rough go of it for St. Louis. Don't want to fall to 3 straight teams from the state of Texas. Mentioned Austin and North Texas held St. Louis scoreless. So they're now going on 5 halves of soccer without a goal. Logan Herb just gets this away. Zachary Zingay controls. He shoved down, and that's going to be a foul and a free kick for St. Louis. So here, after this header, Zingay is there. J.J. Bell with the shove. Then the yellow card comes out. So it is Pearson with Chavez as well as Lillington. So you have your center back, your left back as potential kick takers here. But also you have Emiliano Chavez. It will be Pearson. Too much power put behind that strike. Minutes played here in this second half. Houston in front by a goal, which came in the first half. And now a throw in deep in the final third for the Dynamo. Want to make a clerical note. No card was given to Bell moments ago on that free kick. Bell was trying to swipe out the ball. He goes down in a heap. Now St. Louis is coming the other way, but poor pass there by McDonald and Silva, who tracked all the way back, able to make it happen. There's a shove by Chris Pearson, and then a man goes down for Houston. So just in need of a bit of a stretch. Was Reese Miller. So now Pearson tries to play this ball behind. Riley Lynch was the target, but it was too far in front of him. Chavez plays this over the top. Zingay is offside. Zingay has been a bright spot since coming on. His pedigree is there with his time in Columbus His goal-scoring acumen. Will he be the man to make the difference for St. Louis? Brumette picks this up, shoved down by Lillington. That's his second foul. And the referee going to make that clear. Austin Brumette knows that, and that's why he goes down there. That's just a smart play from Brumette, making sure that Lillington stays on the referee's radar, already on a yellow card. And Brumette pulling him out, pulling him down, because he has to defend the striker. And although Brumette hasn't really been able to get loose today, those moments do matter. Now Zenge. Nwankwo got a piece of it, but Logan Erb has been very calm under duress today as he continues to hold on to this clean sheet, looking to make it back-to-back clean sheets this year. It'll be the first time for him. Now Samir Muhammad. He's shoved down. It's too much contact for the liking of our referee, Anthony Sobolewski. A couple of subs getting ready to come on. Daniel Barrett and Miles Gardner for Houston. Muhammad lets this run to Brumette. Tries to play it back to him. Silva, always ready to come and play. Almost digs it out. And there is the shove and the foul given. So now, right as we have neared 60 minutes played, the substitutions will be made. And so Samir Muhammad trotting over. The official substitution will be Reese Miller, the goal scorer, coming off, as well as Dylan Reyes. So Reyes comes off. Coming on is Daniel Barrett.
Number 23, Daniel Barrett. Left wing, number 44.
And Reese Miller comes off. Miles Gardner comes on.
Leaving the game, number 27, Reese Miller. Number 48.
Owen Jorgensen will come on for St. Louis now.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
As Zach Lillington comes off. And that's just a smart play there. Tactically
Leaving the game, number 66,
by
the
Coach
game,
Critchley.
57.
After seeing the wave of the referee, knowing that the next foul could be a second yellow and a red, Lillington had to come off, and Coach Critchley goes to Owen Jorgensen. Now, how fast can Owen Jorgensen get up to speed for St. Louis? As it looks like Jorgensen will play on the right side. Chris Pearson will move to the main center back as they play three in the back. St. Louis has played three in the back, have played four in the back at times this year. So they can be multiple. That's a foul on Trip Clancy. Coming into today, Houston had also been fluid in how they play defensively and in the attack. Sometimes in a 5-back, sometimes in a 4. But Coach Critchley knew that they build out well because of the way that they play in the midfield. So they're very comfortable on the ball. They want to impose their will on their opponent. Herrera has now moved up, playing more in the midfield. Doman finds Brumette. And Brumette gives it away. So now Cornelius. And Daniel Barrett is there. Talk about the young crop of talent. Last year, Houston, one of the youngest rosters in MLS Next Pro. Sometimes the starting 11 would have 8 or 9 17-year-olds. Still young when you bring on the likes of Miles Gardner and Daniel Barrett. And some of the younger players on this team, in Matteo Di Morelli, Matthew Arana, are not even with this team. They're with the first team right now, which just shows you the type of talent that's in this Houston organization. Right now, the Dynamo are in front by a goal. Reese Miller, who was just subbed off, scored the goal in the first half. Martins works around Chavez. That's the last off of Martins, however, and it's going to be a goal kick. Ball rolls out. So a chance to throw in for Paris. Almost turns it over. And so Chavez sends it away. Miles Gardner tracks it down and goes back to his goalkeeper, Logan Erb. Launching it long is Logan Erb. Pearson trying to control it on the hop, but Brumet is there for it. He's pushed down. Play on. St. Louis just doesn't have that final pass here in this second half. They had the final pass in the first half, just not the finishing product. But the longer that this stays a one-goal game, the longer that St. Louis has a chance to equalize. Houston would love to find a second goal here at home. '67th minute. Just a one-goal game. Chavez towards Nwankwo. He can't corral it. Bell to nobody in particular, but you can see Jeremy Hurdle waving his team on, wants the energy to rise, wants them to stay focused. Chavez sends it behind. Cornelius working on Barrett, who's just come back. Now Chavez sends the ball into the area, headed by Betancourt. And now J.J. Bell being held up, and that's going to be a foul and a yellow card. Another professional foul given, this one by Trip Clancy. As you can see, Bell, you don't want him to get into open space. Played for the team back in 2024, but missed last year due to some personal issues, but was training by himself on his own, staying ready. This opportunity is one that he really takes seriously.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Substitution for Dynamo Dose.
Arthur Sosa has just come on
67.
for Houston.
Entering the game, number 9, Arthur Sosa. Leaving the game, number 16, Alan Martins.
So Alan Martins, who was on a yellow card, comes off. Sosa comes on. So fresh legs. Austin Brumet picks the pocket of Sidney Paris, lays it off, and Sosa's first touch is a goal. Arthur Sosa gives Houston a 2-goal lead. Austin Brumet does the hard work. Boom, takes it right away. And Brumet, unselfish, lays it off. And Sosa scores. Just like that, the Dynamo have doubled their lead. And you see what it means to Sosa as he's come on and made an immediate impact. 70th minute of action, and St. Louis is searching for answers still in the goal department. Now 240 minutes plus without a goal. This is for a team that last year led the Western Conference in goals scored. 2 years ago, we're second in the Western Conference in goals scored. Their goal difference is always 10 plus. This year, they are now with a negative goal difference, -2. Logan Erb clears this away as the pressure was mounting. There's a foul. Free kick will have to come from the spot of the crime. Barrett, Muhammad, and Brumet. This ball will stay with Houston. This is the part where St. Louis is really going to have to chase the game. That only opens things up for the Dynamo. Gardner switches the point of attack, but could not connect with Samir Muhammad. Less than 20 minutes remain. And that ball took a deflection, and so it will stay with Houston. Sosa trying to slip through as he's looking for a second goal in a matter of moments. McDonald, Pearson, and now the goalkeeper Welsh fires it the other way, but Houston takes over in possession. Vinicius Silva attacking. Sosa trying to take the touch over the defender. No foul. Excellent 1-2 played here. McDonald. Paris. Cornelius. And Brumet once again a deflection that forces a turnover. Sosa is loose. Arthur Sosa Shoved down, tries to send this back in front of the face of goal. J.J. Bell will track this down now himself. Gardner goes by Zengay. Zachary Zengay gets a little bit of a touch, and Riley Lynch gives it back to Houston. Bell. Shifty. J.J. Bell shoved off the ball, and that will be a goal kick. There was a shove on the touchline, so this ball is going to be brought back for the foul. As we near the 75th minute of action, Houston has doubled their lead, scoring in either half. Reese Miller scoring first, and Arthur Sosa scoring second. Miller and Sosa both scoring their third goals of the season, respectively. Logan Erb scoops this up and goes to ground. For Houston, getting back on track. There have been a lot of moving parts for a lot of teams in the league as the first teams are getting ready to restart the season, which means that there's been players going up, players coming down on all of these reserve teams. And for both coaches, they said that's the beauty of their job, having to get players ready and also having to coach the young talent. This is Cornelius, stands this up. Erb just gets a hand to it. Riley Lynch on the other side of the area working on Gardner. Works back to Clancy. Zengay zips this into the box, nobody there, and it's cleared by Houston. So a throw in for St. Louis. Officially a quarter of an hour remaining between CITY2 and Dynamo Dos. Paris around Brumette. Still with it is Paris, but turns it over. Gardner releases. He's held up. Bell is fouled at midfield. And although J.J. Bell has not scored today, doesn't have an assist, he has been a great player for Houston with his pace, with his strength. He's done a lot of the hard work. Brumette, almost made Sidney Paris look silly. But St. Louis has earned possession. Cornelius closed down by 2. Throw in for St. Louis. McDonald into Chavez, but Bedcourt saw that the entire way. Got a piece of it before it could find Bedcourt. Now a long ball. Riley Lynch. Lynch flips it in. Controlled by McDonald on the carom. Now Sidney Paris. Emiliano Chavez zips the ball in. It's loose in the area for a second, then cleared away. This is better for St. Louis, their best passage of play right now, but Austin Brumette goes down for Houston. This is not a good sight for the Dynamo, their leading goal scorer. Let's see this again from Chavez. And again, you see Brumette just start walking, and then he goes down. So can't tell on the replay if something was tweaked. But a chance for St. Louis to get together here on their sideline in the white and just discuss how they want to go about this final 12 minutes and change. They have never in their team's history lost 4 straight matches. Right now, that is looking like that might be a first. You go back to the 2023 season, they've lost 3 times in a row. Minnesota, Houston, and Austin in that occasion. And in 2024, Sporting Kansas City, North Texas, and Ventura County got them 3 times in a row,
Substitution for St. Louis City 2.
but have never lost 4. As the Gons will come on for Chidobe Nwankwo. So a tough day for the youngster, as he had 2 golden chances in front of goal. Could not find the back of the net. And now opportunities arising for Houston as well. So Jacinho Perez will come on for J.J. Bell. And it looks like Austin Brumet is going to come out as well for Mamadi Gianna. So play resumes, 80th minute of action, and Houston in control, leading by 2 goals. DeGon's first touches, he's taken off the ball. Miles Gardner, a blur, in possession, just racing down the left side. Runs out of real estate as he was hugging up against the touchline. As Clancy comes out. Alexander Jean comes on as well. So 2 changes made by St. Louis to go along with the Gons coming on for Nwankwo. Ball's dumped in. McDonald takes it on the hop. Another cross. Cornelius couldn't get to it. Paris, Pearson, and Sosa goes to ground. St. Louis finally controls possession. Chavez, Cornelius, Zengay was going for goal. Logan Erb saw it the entire way. This would be a big 3 points for Houston as they try to regain first place in the Western Conference. And this would be a massive 3 points to drop for St. Louis, who was hovering around first place in the conference with Houston before Austin's ascension. And right now, St. Louis in danger of dropping 4 straight matches. This is Gardner joining the attack. Muhammad tries to play it one touch. And Chavez just fires this away. You can tell he was about to be under some duress, and it's just been suffocating defending all day from Houston. They haven't made it easy for St. Louis at all. The 2 chances early looking like they will come back to bite St. Louis because they weren't able to take advantage of them. Now down by the 2 goals. This could have been a much different match, but it's those fine margins that always define things, especially in football. Cornelius. Jorgensen. Not a bad ball as it zipped through everyone, just nobody able to get on the end of it. Advantage played. McDonald taps to Chavez. Returns the favor. Patrick McDonald zips in across. It's sent behind for a corner. Still time for St. Louis. Under 7 minutes to play, but we have added time. Outswinger from Chavez. Headed back towards goal. It'll take a bounce. Herb runs over Zachary Zengay, but the referee says nothing there. So as it's rolled along, Vinicius Silva starts the trot. Gardner. Gianna. How can Houston manage this final 6 minutes? There's been a lot of movement for the Dynamo. Right now, Chavez putting pressure. And he's called for the foul. Jairzinho Perez ends up going down. David Critchley can't believe it. You see here, it's Perez who tries to dig into the defender. And it looks like Critchley and company might have a point. Zengay wins the ball. Cornelius dispossessed. Jorgensen steps in front. That was necessary. Now McDonald. Ball zipped in, headed along, and there's the lifeline. St. Louis right back in this match. And it is Lorenzo Cornelius.
Goal scored by St. Louis at the 86th minute by number 83.
This is a beautiful ball. Fired in. Cornelius was in front of Perez, and he was just first to the ball. But Arthur Sosa coming the other way for Houston. Sosa stopped. Colin Welsh keeping his team in it. There's a foul, and a free kick is coming for St. Louis. Well, this just got juicy here inside of 5 minutes remaining. A free kick for St. Louis, down by a goal. The scoring drought has come to a halt. And now they'd like to stop this losing streak. '88th minute. St. Louis in need of a goal.
Caution has been issued by the referee to number 12 from the Houston Dynamo Dos.
Ball comes in.
Minute 86.
Betancourt is first to it. Chavez plays it towards Pearson. Paris. This is closed down. Arthur Sosa going to give chase and make Pearson pursue. Now Colin Welsh, as Vinicius Silva is shown a yellow card. McDonald, Pearson, the goal scorer Cornelius. And now this ball is dumped behind. This could be trouble. Another ball flipped up. Chavez hits the crossbar. The second shot is blocked away. St. Louis screaming for a handball. Pearson just keeps this in on the touchline. A late flurry from CITY2 as they try to stave off a 4th straight defeat. Pearson pumps this into the area, headed away by Vinicius Silva. And now Gianna is tripped up from behind by Zachary Zingate. Well, here we go. Another floating ball. Cornelius gets a toe to it, so Chavez has his shot blocked. And then coming in for the second shot was Alex Junt. And you see all the yells for handball. But that was not the decision of Anthony Zabalewski, our referee. 90th minute. St. Louis still hunting that second goal. Pearson, Patrick McDonald, Emiliano Chavez, who just saw his shot hit the crossbar. Sidney Paris, his mistake was the reason why Houston was able to find a second goal. Jorgensen, Pearson, Chavez, Cornelius, who gave his team the lifeline, scored the goal. Now Riley Lynch. Junt. Lynch launches it across, knotted away by Silva, cleans out his own teammate, and the foul is given. So Zabalewski, believing that there was a shove by Zingate. Doman is down. Silva is the one that cleaned him out. And the medical staff is called onto the field. So the 4th official announcing a minimum of 4 minutes of added time. That will be a little bit more as we'll watch the clock and see how long it takes for Gustavo Doman to receive this medical attention. This has quickly gotten interesting. You see here, Arthur Sosa almost closing the door. Samir Muhammad wanted the ball right in front. Sosa was going for goal because this is a head injury and Doman is back up. He will not have to be off the pitch for the allotted time. We are moving towards a minute that has been consumed due to this injury, and so that minute you expect to be added back on after our minimum of 4. Right now, that all-important second goal by Arthur Sosa, the difference. Does St. Louis have a second goal in them after not scoring for more than 270 minutes? Going back to the last 2 matches. It's Logan Erb. Sending it the other way. Last off of Houston. So that took about a minute and a half to get us back started. So we'll see how much time Anthony Zabalewski adds on after our minimum of 4. Zachary Zingay pushed down by Daniel Barrett. So the foul was not given, but the throw-in comes for St. Louis. Barrett last to that, so another throw-in. Final minute of our minimum of 4. We're expecting another minute and a half after that. St. Louis setting up for a long throw. Chavez launches this ball in. It'll take a bounce. Back out to Chavez. Floats this up, and it'll hit the top of the netting. And that will not get the job done for St. Louis. Ball is booted away. Controlled by Sidney Paris. We played our minimum of 4. How much more time will be given? Paris quickly back in. Another defensive effort by Perez. Cornelius watched by 2. Gets the cross off. Hit by Herb over. Just had to punch it over the crossbar. So now a corner for St. Louis. Herb doesn't know who's behind him, so just has to push it over the bar. Maybe a minute left. Ball is sent into the area. It'll skip all the way across. Cornelius will get. It's there for a throw. So Chavez once again sets up for a long throw. Headed along, and Herb goes to ground. Maybe 30 seconds left now. Herb boots this away. Sosa heads it. And now Colin Welsh will track it down. Last gasp for St. Louis. Foul is given. And so will St. Louis send numbers forward for one more set piece. Paris pumps this ball in. Herb mishandles it. Miles Gardner clears it away. We've now played 2 more than our minimum of 4. Cornelius. Lynch. Too long. And this goal kick might get the job done for Houston. Logan Herb going to take his time. He doesn't have to take the kick. There is the final whistle, and Houston survives here at SaberCat Stadium. The final, Dynamo 2, City 1. And the man on his knees there, Arthur Sosa, is your Adidas Man of the Match. Thanks to his goal right off the bench. Arthur Sosa comes off the bench. He does take a touch, and then his second touch sends Houston into a 2-goal lead. It's beautifully done here as Brumet does the hard work, picks the pocket of Paris, and then Beautiful layoff. Sosa controls himself and through the legs of Colin Welsh. That second goal provided insurance and ended up being the winner. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Houston victorious over St. Louis. Stefano once again 2-1. With my entire crew, my name is James Hadnot saying so long from Houston, Texas. You can watch MLS Next Pro all season long on onefootball.com and MLSNextPro.com. Have a blessed evening.
Go Dynamo!
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.